Welcome, fellow story listeners. We are back with another week of Stories Before Bed. And this story, we have an exciting one. And we are here to, of course, question and scare you with different types of folktales, legends, myths, strange phenomenons. That's what we're here to do. And before we even jump into our story this week, my name is Darren.
I'm Michael.
And this week's story, we have the Mothman.
Yes. The Mothman.
The Mothman. Yep. So I'm sure we all have heard of the Mothman, just like how we have all heard of the Boogeyman, which is all, within this whole urban legend universe that we're talking about.
And it's kind of interesting because, the Mothman isn't that old of a myth.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a while ago. It was back in the 60s.
Yes, a while ago. Exactly what you said, Michael. To waste no time, we are jumping right in.
That's right.
It kind of spawned from back in the 60s, as you mentioned, and then Mothman was known to be like a creature that's 7 to 10 foot tall and black with wings and red eyes. And so the Mothman was mainly spawned from the West Virginia area, and specifically in this town called Point Pleasant.
Yeah, and actually, it's kind of interesting, not necessarily an origin story, but the original sighting. Which I found really interesting, was gravediggers spotted a creature flying above them.
Yes.
And, it had described it as being, like almost human size.
Yeah. It's like some kind of like humanoid / creature type, right? So the first initial sighting is on November 15th, 1966. There are two young couples from Point Pleasant, that town. And these two couples, Roger and Linda Scarberry and Steve and Mary Mellons. So I guess they were like out and about and around town, and they reported later on at night, they reported to police that they saw like a large black creature with glowing red eyes. And they saw that monster standing near like a kind of like a former World War II site, like munitions plant. So I guess they were, maybe they were just over there kind of hanging out, having fun, whatever, and they saw the creature, the monster. And so, of course, they freaked out and they, sped away on the car. And then they also told the police that the creature flew after them, and chased after them. And then of course, nothing bad happened at the end of the day, at the end of the night, but that's what they reported.
Can you imagine them sitting in the police station reporting that story?
Oh, yeah.
Or being the guy taking down the story?
Oh, yeah. The police would be like, these couples are gosh, man, what are you doing over there? It must be high or something.
Yeah. It sounded really crazy. And then, I was reading that a lot, after their initial reporting, then, there were, all of a sudden, it was kind of like the story took off. It was it was viral before even YouTube.
That's true.
And it just went crazy. A lot of people started reporting, citing that. And, it's really fascinating.
It is.
They would claim, because there was a munitions site there. And because of, during World War II, and so people were like, oh, maybe they're mutants.
Oh yeah. Like there were some theories how it was maybe some kind of chemical experiment went wrong, and someone, almost like a super villain origin story where did someone turn into like this creature and then just kind of haunt that area. It's just really funny. And so this also leads to like another this is like an infamous sighting, actually. It happened on December 15th, 1967. So locals of the town, they had, said that they saw this Mothman on top, like flying over this silver bridge. So this bridge was a suspension bridge that kind of connects from, I guess it connects over like this Ohio River. So it's from their town to West Virginia to Ohio. So it's crossing the bridge to the other side. And so shortly after this sighting, then soon later, like all of a sudden, this bridge collapsed, and then it resulted in like 46 deaths. And so investigation, was obviously conducted, and then they found that there was like a kind of like a fracture or busted suspension chain as the main cause. But of course, locals, they had other ideas, other theories that, oh no, it can't be just that. We saw something, it has to be that. Maybe that Mothman chew off the chain or whatever, right? I've read like too, some people consider the Mothman to be like an omen, that anytime it appears, something bad's about to happen. And so sorry to backtrack. In 1975, John Keel, I think, wrote a book based on Mothman prophecy. Oh, yes.
And I think he tied in the silver, the collapse of the Silver Bridge with it. Yeah. And then that book was later in 2002 made into a Richard Gere movie. Excellent movie. If you haven't seen it, you should see it.
All right.
But it's really interesting. And then like a festival started up in
2002. It's a way to attract visitors, because it's such a urban legendary, Mothman Festival annual, which is kind of crazy. And then the extra fact too is, it was, I think during that time was so popular that there was some inspiration in one of the Batman comics, actually, comic book. Yeah, so one of the Batman comics, in the cover they had like one of the villains to be like a kind of like a moth creature, Mothman. So it's a little bit of that inspiration. With that. So it was such a widespread, popular kind of news or urban legend.
I actually was reading about what they think the actual thing they viewed was when they thought it was this Mothman.
What did they say? What?
They said, so I think it's a local professor that said the source is probably they actually cited non-native sandhill cranes or herons.
Yes, herons. Yes. Yeah, I have read that. Yes.
Yeah, which I didn't realize they were that big. I'm like, wow.
Yes. Well, yeah, but but herons though also they do have a pretty kind of like a long beak, so a lot of description doesn't really fit talk about that with the long beak or long mouth, whatever. Like, and I don't know if their eyes glow in the dark.
I think they do. That was the thing about my neighbors, that they have red eyes that kind of glow. And I could see, like, especially like with the grave diggers, it's late at night. Yeah. And I think the couples that reported it happened at night as well. And so maybe in daylight, you'd be like, oh, it's a bird, but a giant bird.
Well, and I mean, at night, everything's creepier, to be honest. It's like, when you're at night, dude, you see things, man. Like, especially out in the woods.
Yeah.
But anyways, any final thoughts on our Mothman friend, Mothman creature?
No, just that I think it's pretty cool that this town has embraced the story. I mean, it really kind of, we probably wouldn't have heard of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, if it wasn't for the Mothman.
That's true. What did these people even do at the festival? I mean, we're talking about, are they like drinking like moth beer, or what are you doing?
Probably.
The theme is Mothman, right? Like, what do you?
They have T-shirts and
Okay.
it's like a whole I don't know. They probably dress up in costume. It might be like a whole cosplay type.
Oh. Yeah, but then
Weird,
but then the costumes, everyone's gonna be dressed up as a Mothman though. How's that? Cosplay is different.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, there it is. This is the Mothman folktale urban legend. Thank you all for listening and continue to tune in. And for those of you who are just joining us, please go ahead and check out our other episodes and other stories. Don't forget to subscribe, like, or share, any of that. Okay, bye.